Good morning. So we are doing the Uddhava Gita. This is the 18th chapter and we had completed till verse 45. So we will continue from verse 46 onwards. If you recollect, last time we had done a very interesting subject which is called controlling the mind. And we are going to continue with that because this is a very important subject for literally everybody. It is said that controlling the mind is called the highest of the yoga, which means that if you don't control your mind, you are not even a yogi. So let us see what the Brahmana says about this. We are doing Uddhava Gita Chapter 18, verse 46. Charity, the performance of one's duty, observances of vows, general and particular, the hearing of all scriptures, meritorious acts, and all other works, all these culminate in the control of the mind. The control of the mind is the highest yoga. So, let us begin. He says charity. Now, if I have to control the mind, why is charity so important? All these things which I mentioned over here, charity, performances of one's duty, observances of vow, general and particular, hearing of the scriptures, meritorious acts, all these are sattvic in nature. If you have to control your mind, you got to first become sattvic. If you are tamasic, there is no control of the mind at all. When a person is in the tamasic mode, he is lazy. He procrastinates. He tells lies. And there are lots of wrong things that he does. He is not able to overcome any nature of his. To tell lies becomes a regular thing in his world. He is so lazy that there is absolutely no discipline in life. So a tamasic person doesn't have any good qualities at all. Absolutely none. If I go to the Rajasic one, there are a couple of qualities which he gathers along the way. What he gathers is a certain amount of discipline. But for what purpose? To drive his own desires. Which means that he wants to make money. He wants to lust after women or men or whatever. He is going to run after that, and for which he is going to put in all the efforts. His work is based entirely on how much he is able to make, what is the kind of money that he gets, what is the kind of fame and fortune that he is able to gather. This is what he is looking at, which is again full of desires. And if you remember last week, we were doing that desires are the root cause of evil. So mind control is not there. His mind is focused in doing something specific. In the first case where tamas is concerned, there is absolutely no control. In the second case, which is the Rajasic case, at least he is controlling, but for dubious purposes. Making money, fame, fortune, lust, greed, you name it. Now we come to the Sattvic person. Now the Sattvic person has all the good qualities. He is kind, compassionate, loving, caring. He bothers about the whole world. Whether he has money or not, he does charity to people. You see, if he has one piece of bread and if he sees a hungry dog, he will give that piece of bread to the dog. That becomes charity. He's very charitable and very kind person. Now, when you are charitable and kind, you have overcome your mind. Think about it. You have put the other person ahead of you, and it is not for any dubious reasons. It's not for any, trying to get fame or fortune in that way. You are doing it because of goodness of heart. So a person will give his bread to the poor dog because there is goodness in his heart. So charity comes from the sattva guna. Likewise, all these other things that I mentioned, that is performance of one's duties, observances of vows, all these qualities are connected to the sattva guna only. Now, let us say in this world today, we have this pandemic issue which is raging throughout the world. Yesterday, the United Nations has declared that more than 130 countries, 130 countries, have not even received one vaccine. There are only few countries which are distributing the vaccine amongst themselves. So, the largest number of doses have gone to only 4 or 5 countries. India doesn't feature anywhere in that. Because you may be thinking India is making vaccines, so it is using vaccines. Not at all. We have not even used 5 lakh doses. This is a very great thing. And yet, India is charitable. So many millions and millions of vaccines have been sent across the world. Whenever any country head calls up India and says, we need the vaccines because we are in an urgent need, please send us. So an entire truckload, an entire container load is sent to those countries. But in India, the Indians are not getting the vaccines because in the Sattva Guna, we always consider others as number one, not us. I will remain hungry, but I will feed the nation. I will remain hungry, but the neighbor will get it. That is Sattva Guna. That is called charity. And that charity is only taught in the Sanatan Dharma. No other dharma will teach this kind of charity. And here Sri Krishna is giving this story, which is nothing but it's a poem, which is recited by this Brahmin, in which he gives charity as the foremost guna, Sattva Guna. Now, when you do charity, you help the world. And when this is done, the world is a better place. We have to always consider the person opposite who is, has nothing. And we have very little of it. We should give it to others. That is charity. In today's day and age, charity is completely different. What is taught in the Western philosophy is you have 100 rupees, you give 10 rupees in charity. Never. It's not like that. That is not called charity. That is forcibly giving it to someone. It is written in the Bible, so you do it. It is written in their scriptures, that is why they do it. Not to go to hell. But in our scriptures, it is written charity means even when we don't have for ourselves, whatever we have, that little bit has to be given to others. That is called the highest of the charity. There are lots of people in this world. People like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mr. Koch from, Wichita. And there are various other people. They do a lot of charity. The IKEA person, the person who owns IKEA, does lot of charity. What is lot of charity mean? A certain amount of their income, a minuscule portion of their income compared to the billions that they earn, they give it to charity. That is not called charity. That is called control the world. You give, make water tanks for people, make toilets for people and control them. That is not called charity. True charity means when you have very little of it and you give away the whole. Sometimes in our world, this kind of a charity is not visible. And today's day and age, the current generation of Indians have no clue about charity. They think that, oh, we are doing CSR in our company. CSR, they take 500 rupees or 1000 rupees from my salary. Why should they cut so much? I give it to the temple. No, I give it to the beggars. No, that is not called charity. Sorry. You are under completely wrong, information. Your scriptures are not clear. Charity is a different terminology. In the Rihananda Baba's ashram, where I used to go earlier, now he's no more. There is a person who used to stay with him. He would bring the entire salary and give it to Baba. Then Baba will distribute. In olden times, the young children, those who were working outside, would go and work, earn a living, and would come home and give their entire salary to their parents. That was the rule. And then the parents will distribute it for different purposes. Today, nobody knows about this. They think that why should I give it to my father or mother? In charity, you first consider other people, not yourself. And that doesn't mean charity begins at home. Otherwise, you'll misinterpret my words. No, charity doesn't begin at home. This is a very wrong way of looking at it. There are lots of have-nots in this world. You have to first give to the have-nots. So, interestingly, charity is the top of the line. If you want to control your mind, charity is number one. How many people are charitable in this world? Hardly any. Performance of one's duty. There are certain duties which are called swadharma. Now, swadharma is a very interesting terminology. Swadharma means that which you have been given. The reason why you are here on this earth, certain jobs have to be done by you. You have to perform certain duties. That is the reason why this body has been given. There is a place in northern Karnataka. That place is called Bidar. Bidar is famous for Bidri ware. If you don't know what Bidri ware is, Google it and see. There are small films on that you can see. It's an art of making metalware. Beautiful pieces. There were lots of people doing that in Bidar. Now, There are only 10 places there. That is it. Only 10 places where this is made, 10 shops or artisans who are making it. And in the last 2020, they did not have any business, because of which they are considering closing down. They don't make money in that. Bidri ware cannot be made in other parts of the world because of specific mud over there. It comes from a fort. The mud comes from that fort. It is rich in certain minerals and all, and that particular mud is used for making this Bidri ware. The Brahmini kings had brought this art to India from Iran, and they were making it. Now it is not there. Now think about it. This particular art of making is a part of these people's dharma. But because you don't get money in that, they leave it and go away. Likewise, I went to another town recently, maybe about a month ago. It is called Gadwal. Gadwal is famous for their Gadwal silk saris. I was amazed to see there was hardly any silk over there and hardly any real jari over there. Everything was duplicate. Why have people shifted from, say, handloom to machine made? The reason is because they are not getting the money. So what is our job? Charity. The government and the local bodies have to see to it that these artisans get something. I gave these stray examples. Now let us take your own example. You are a person who is working in a company or working for some organization, or maybe you have a business, or maybe you are a professional yourself. You think that that is your swadharma, performance of one's duty. I make money, whatever I get from earning, that I give it to my house. I have a wife, or the wife will say, I have a husband. He runs the house or she runs the house, whoever. I give the money over there. My children get to, go to school, college, wherever. We pay our EMIs. They think this is Swadharma. No. Swadharma has nothing to do with it. 99% of the people do that activity of earning a living. What is the big deal that you are doing? You are exactly like those 99% of the people. You are also earning a living, right? Earning a living doesn't mean you are doing your duty. No way. Earning your living is the job of every person. They have to make that little money so that they can survive in this world. But you are here for a bigger purpose. Try to understand why you are here. Are you here to make this world changes? Are you a soldier? So first, knowing your swadharma is very important. Performance of one's duty doesn't mean serving yourself and your family. No way. That is a duty everybody does. So know that Swadharma. Swadharma cannot be found so easily. It's like I told you, the Bidriware people, their Swadharma is to do this Bidriware, not at the price of making money. Okay? No way. It is their duty. They are artisans. Artisans are supposed to do their job. Somebody has to take care of them. They may not be able to take care of themselves at all. Then he says observance of vows. We have various vows that we take. Vows doesn't mean that I promise to pay you the money and all that. No. The reason why you are a human being, your job is to ensure that you are right on the path. Okay? Your path is there. You are supposed to be there on the path. And while you're doing that, disciplined, regularity, all these are part of your vows, by the way. Suppose you have a maid at home. If you have said that your salary date is the first, are you paying her on the first? Are you paying her in the morning the moment she comes to work? Or are you telling her that today bank is closed, I will do one thing, I'll give you coming week, I don't have money? No. It is your job to see to it that she gets paid. That is a simple vow, but you got to keep it. Whatever work that you do in this manner, you are actually serving God's purpose. If you have promised some person that you are going to deliver the job by this end of the day, you have to do it before the end of the day. Not saying that, oh, that little which is left, I'll do tomorrow morning. No. I have people who will tell me, Guruji, I have written the article. Have you published it? No. Then publishing will take 4 days. Then what is the point in writing an article if you have not published it? You have to make it, they culminate into final action. I brought the home money to give to the servant, but she's gone home, That is not the criteria. Criteria is, have you given her the money? Got it? Brought it home is not the criteria. Like that, I will tell you. If I am God Almighty, I will say, I have brought that thing next to you. You wanted to become a millionaire, no? Huh? Don't worry. In your house, I have buried $1 million. But when you are leaving the house that day, I will make the other person who comes over there get that money. But were you not living with those $1 million till then? See, that doesn't serve the purpose. Now you don't like what I said. Then why do you give false promises? Never give false promises. The final act has to be finished, culminated. It has to end. My father used to say, there is a lot of money in the Reserve Bank of India. Then he used to say, what use is it to me? There is a lot of money. Yes. It's exactly the point. You may be holding that thing, but what is the point? Till it is finally used, then only it is worth it. So you have to culminate into the final action. I studied very hard is not the answer. Did you come first? No. Then you are failed. You are just studying for studying's sake. If you are not going to write your examination, then what is the point in studying? If you are doing spirituality and you are not interested in even reaching the ultimate supreme goal, then what is the point in doing spiritual? Then get out of it. Go away somewhere else. Go make money. Become Rajasic or Tamasic. So, the hearing of the scriptures. You are hearing the scripture just now. This is the Uddhava Gita. It's a part of the Bhagavatam. If you listen to the scriptures, you will get a lot of benefits. You can overcome the mind by listening to the scriptures. Now here there is a rider. He says, and other works. The rider is this. Listening to the scripture doesn't mean only hearing it. People think, oh, I heard your satsang, Guruji. Very nice satsang, very beautiful. What is the use if you are not even using those words? Whatever that you learn has to be implemented in your life. Then listening becomes an act. So listening the scriptures, you have to follow and become that sattvic person. Tell me, finish those acts, whatever that are necessary to be done. Whenever your scripture is given, it says, do charity. Don't tell me that, oh, I will do it next month onwards. This time, I don't have any money. Next month onwards, I will do. And next month is never going to come. Meritorious acts, good acts. All this culminate in the control of the mind. All these are there which will help a person control the mind. And when you control the mind, that is called the highest yoga. Not trying to lift your leg up and down. That is not yoga. That is gymnastics. That is exercise. Even a dog will do that. There is a dog yoga also, isn't it? Even the scorpion does it. They have names of all these things. That is not called yoga. Highest yoga is controlling the mind. Do you control your mind, or does the mind control you? I have never met a single person in this world till today, who has controlled his mind, which we will learn in the coming verses. Because even the sages, even these great Maharathis, they have never been able to control their mind. Because controlling the mind is very tough, and we will understand now, because science, we are going to do a little bit of science. So we will move on to verse 47 now. We are doing Uddhava Gita Chapter 18, verse 47. Say, of what use are charity and the rest to one whose mind is controlled and pacified? Of what use again are this charity and the rest to one whose mind is restless or lapsing into dullness? If your mind is going on the path of tamas, dullness, and restlessness, which is the next, which is what? See, first I told you it is tamas, right? Which is, I'm lazy, I don't like, this is not good, that is bad. The people who keep on procrastinating, telling lies, not doing the work, just being lazy. They are doing all the wrong stuff. So that is one. Second one is rajas, activity based. Did I not tell you? If you are in these two gunas, where is this charity going to be of any use? Charity and other things controlling one's mind, and that doesn't happen, by the way. Performance of duties. What performance of duties? If you are on the Rajasic path or on the Tamasic path, I perform my duty. What duty did you perform? There is no duty that you have performed. You are still that same person who is driven by money, who is driven by lust and greed, who is driven by laziness. So he says, the mind, whosoever this person is, whose mind is driven by laziness and restlessness, for them charity or any other thing is of no use, because they are motivated. If you are motivated by action, when you say, I give money at home, people have this habit of saying, I send home money, I earn this, but I send them home money. All the rental that I am getting, I give it to these people. That is not called charity, and that is not called performance of duties. The moment you utter from your mouth, I am doing this, that act doesn't become an act of charity at all. Then your mind is talking. If your mind is talking, where is the control of the mind? Then you have not controlled your mind. Charity means doing those actions and not even thinking about them. Those are naturally happening. I had to reprimand a person recently. Why? To show goodness was difficult. People were putting, I love what you did, I like what you did. Now, if you are truly a charitable and a good person, and if you truly mean something, then you will show your love. But if you have meanness at heart, and if you don't care for anybody, you are a self-centered, egoistic person, then you will do those actions just for the heck of it. I posted a picture recently and I wanted to observe who are these great people who seem to have this kind of an attitude. And there was this great person who just for the sake, after 30 people had liked or 25 people had liked, this person goes and likes it. It's out of shame. If there is true love, you have to show your love. Otherwise, it is of no use. Then your mind is at play. If your mind is at play, then I reprimanded that person and I said, what is the meaning of this? People are watching. You don't understand this. You should not do because people are watching. The goodness of heart, which is charitable action, is the sattvic guna. It has to flow from your heart. The greatness of your heart has to be, even if the other person is mean to you, you should never be mean to another person. Got the answer? So this is the reason why charity and other acts are no use. By just putting a like is of no use if you have the rajo or the tamaguna in you. If there is rajas and tamas in you, then that action is not called charity. If you are thinking that you are giving money to your parents, paying them a certain amount, and you are still saying, I am paying, I am taking care of them, that is a rajasic activity and a tamasic activity. It is zero. As far as I am concerned, you have not done anything. You have not even done your swadharma. The person who does swadharma and the person who does charity, who does all the meritorious deeds, doesn't open their mouth and say a single word about it. I gave this example of that Riyananda Baba and the person who was there with him. That person used to quietly get up in the morning at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, clean the whole building. It's a massive place. And the temple. Would clean it with water and everything. After that person cleaned, he would take bath and do the puja. I think maybe he took the bath first. He would do that puja, keep the whole place spick and span. Then he would wake up Baba and the rest of the people over there. He would pass on his entire salary to those people over there, Baba. And then he would go to teach in the school. That is called greatness. And he did not utter a single word. All this story was told to me by Baba himself, which speaks volumes about this person. He is purely in the sattva guna, and he will get blessed because of that. Because a person who does so much of activity, this is serving the Guru and God. And here we have people who think that they are doing favor to their parents or to your brothers or sisters or your families and things like that. That is not called charity. So don't be under this wrong impression that you are doing any charity to anybody or you are doing your swadharma. That is not called swadharma. If the activity is driven by rajas and tamas, it is not charity at all. It is not swadharma. It is not doing any meritorious act. It is you are completely a zero. In the heavens, you will not even be counted. Now, this is one part. The second part of this verse says, for those who have gone beyond, those who have got enlightened, those who have been able to overcome their mind, sages and saints beyond, gone beyond, for them, charity and doing swadharma is of no use. Because if their mind is controlled and pacified, what is the use of doing the charity then? You have gone beyond. You are no longer a human being. You are the spirit soul. You are the Atma. You have become enlightened. You are the self itself. So then you become that divine being. For these two kind of people, charity is of no use. Swadharma is of no use. So did you get the point? The person number one is the one who is in the Raja and the Tamoguna, who keeps on doing I did this, I did that, or never does it at all. For that person, even if he performs his duty or charity or actions which are good, meritorious deeds, they are zero. He is never counted anywhere on the path of controlling the mind. He can never control the mind. He or she can never control the mind. Number two, a person who has gone beyond, who has become enlightened, for that person, there is no point in doing charity or any other actions which are supposed to be meritorious. Because anybody who has gone beyond, what is the point? He is no longer a human being. He has become enlightened. So now we will do the part which is, like I said, it's very interesting to know the part. So we are going to do. And here Krishna is going to make a revelation. So we are doing Uddhava Gita Chapter 18, verse 48. The other gods are under the sway of the mind, but the mind never comes under the sway of anyone else. This mind is a terrible god, stronger than the strongest, and he is the God of gods who can control the mind. The last verse, the last portion, I will keep it separately. The other gods are under the sway of the mind. What is he talking about? Is he talking about any gods outside? Like I said, all these demigods that are there, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati, Ganesha, Kartikeya Swami, all these, they are called demigods. They are not gods at all. They are not the God. They are called demigods. They have functionalities. They have certain duties. They are doing some things in this world. They come and do certain things. Like Brahmaji's job is to make something, is production. His job is to produce something. Creator, we call him. Vishnu's job is sustenance. He sustains the world. Got it? Vishnu can't do Brahmaji's job and Brahmaji can't do Vishnu's job. Likewise, Shiva can't do Vishnu's job or Shiva can't do Brahma's job also. Shiva's job cannot be done by Vishnu or Brahma. So none of these people can do their jobs of other people. They only have specific jobs related to their functions, whatever they are. So they are called small g, Gods. The other gods are under the sway of the mind. All these gods that are there, they are under the sway of the mind. The mind controls all these gods. See, if you cannot control your mind, the mind is going to control you. It is never going to allow you to do anything. So now let us see who these gods are. These demigods are in your body. They are represented inside of you. Saraswati is an action connected only to knowledge. Do you have the knowledge? Yes. But it will come under the sway of the mind. The same knowledge will get misused if your mind is stronger. So this goddess called Saraswati will come under the sway of this mind. So if you have fantastic knowledge in your life, let us say you have become a very great person. You are a PhD in some particle physics or something like that. But you can't control your mind. You will sell your technology for the wrong purposes. When Deng Xiaoping, the president, the person who was ruling China in 60s and 70s and all, if I remember correctly, what is the first thing that he did? He said education is a must. So what he did was he gathered all the people in China and told them, go abroad and study in all the fantastic institutions over there. And the same countries like America, United States of America, welcomed the Chinese. Please come and study in the Harvards of our world. All these people went to these countries. All the big nations like England and France and all these places, they went and they studied. In Australia also, they took everything that those people taught, including the technology, including the knowledge, everything they took and brought it back to China and made China great. Got the answer? It's exactly like a demigod. The knowledge was used against those people. Think about it. Your mind is so strong, it can misuse the knowledge. Your mind is so strong that it can misuse the power of reproduction. That is Brahmaji's job, isn't it? Today, there are so many people in the world who have casual relationship and they don't even care. Why? Because Brahmaji's job is lying somewhere down there. They don't care about it. There is an entire nation whose population is dwindling by leaps and bounds. That is Japan. The entire Europe. Why is their population dwindling? It's because the Brahmaji's job is not getting done. Their mind is stronger. All these people know their mind is stronger. They use their mind for the purpose of misusing it. Got it? So the knowledge of production, of creation, is being misused for dubious purposes. Similarly, there are other gods in your body, like Lakshmi. The act of making money or wealth, fame, fortune, dhana, dhanya, all this is Lakshmi's department. And what do people do with it? The mind is overcoming all these gods. All these gods that are there, they are getting overcome by your mind. Your mind is the god of gods, by the way. It has become so strong that it doesn't allow any of these demigods to work inside of you. One example I will give. People have this, have you seen those people pumping iron? You have seen, no? People will show how strong they are. They go build muscles. Or there are women in this world who want to look very slim and trim and all that. So they do all these botox, this, that, they go to the gym, do all kinds of nonsensical stuff. The God which is controlling your body activity is overcome by the mind. The mind says, you don't look good, you got to look good. Go, shed 20 kilos. And they will do that. And put some, silicone in the wrong places. Yes, and they do that. The God connected with that particular part is getting upset because his job is gone. The mind has taken over. Okay. The person, who is known for this is divorcing her husband. It has come in the newspaper today, in the news today. So that person is misusing the same thing. Because the mind says so, you have to be in the eyes of the people, so do these things. For what purpose? And this is not correct. So this is what he says. The other gods are under the sway of the mind. But mind never comes under the sway of anyone else. No God, no Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, nobody can control the mind. Please know this. No God can control the mind. No way. Brahmaji's job is to keep on producing. It is said that Brahmaji himself did a lot of actions which were not expected of him to do. Vishnu's mind got tainted when he became a pig, a boar. And he said, I will only stay like a boar. I don't want to come to heavens and I don't want to rule this world. I am a pig, I have got my wife, I've got my children, and I produce them a plenty. So eat all the dirt and I will be happy in this world. So even Vishnu was overcome. And what about Shiva? He was also overcome. Did he not do the Tandava? His wife got burnt on that. She went into the fire. Did he not get upset? Of course he got upset. So here is the verse which says, the mind never comes under the sway of anyone else. Absolutely the truth. Nobody can control the mind, not even the God. Small gods, demigods. You can go and pray to Vishnu, Mahesh, or whoever that you want to. You will still not be able to control the mind. Because mind is the strongest of the gods. And which you don't know. So, other gods are under the sway of the mind. But the mind never comes under the sway of anyone else. This is a terrible God. This mind is a terrible God. He is the God of gods, Indra. He is stronger than the strongest. He is stronger than the strongest. But who can control this mind? Who is this? All these actions that I told you, charity, performance of one's duty, observances of vows, general and particular, hearing of the scriptures, meritorious actions. This is the way in which you can control the mind. There is no other way. Praying to some God outside, you can't control the mind. I hope you understand this. He is the supreme God in your body. Nobody can control him, not even these demigods. He controls the demigods. Please remember this verse very carefully. It's so important to remember that the moment you think, I have been able to overcome the mind, what nonsense are you talking? It is the same thing which Sri Ram went and told Vasishta Muni. He said, you know what? He says, Munivar, he says, my dear Guruji, I have been able to overcome the mind. And Vasishta Muni looks at him and laughs and says, if you come and tell me that you have lifted all those mountains, I will believe you. If you say that I have drunk the entire oceans of water, I will believe you. But if you say, he's telling Sri Ram these things, but if you say that you have overcome the mind, it is not possible. Not even Sri Ram can control the mind. Please understand this. So this is what his guru told him. And you can't control the mind. This is the fact of life. The only way of controlling it is through charity, performance of your duty, swadharma, observances of vows, general and particular hearing of the scriptures, etc., etc., meritorious acts. So now we will go to the next verse. So did you get this answer over here or no? The answer is this. The gods live in your body from tip to toe. The top over here is controlled by Shiva. The one at the navel is Brahmaji. The one in the heart is the Vishnu Tattva. These are tattvas in different locations. On the tongue, inside the larynx and various other places is Saraswati. There are various organs in your body. The ears, the eyes, they're all controlled by different gods. And all these gods are under the sway of mind, the mind. The mind controls all these gods. You can't control a single god. That is why I say that when a man, he cannot keep his eyes to himself when he is looking at a woman. A woman can never keep her tongue in check. Have you seen that? A man cannot control his eyes. A woman can never control her tongue. She just keeps on blabbering all the time. You tell her one secret and the secret will be known to the whole world. I'm not saying anything bad against a woman or the man. Please remember this. This is how the mind controls you. Can you control those actions? All this, especially the mind. Control the mind and see. So these gods are in your body and the mind is the controller. The only way of controlling the mind by you is through charity and all those other things that I mentioned previously. So we will do the next verse, which is verse 49. This is Uddhava Gita Chapter 18, verse 49. There are some foolish people who, without conquering this invincible foe, whose onset is unbearable and who pierces the very vitals of a man, are for that very reason engaged in vain quarrels with mortals here, and in the course of it convert others into friends or neutrals or enemies. There are foolish people in this world. Now what do? They are never able to control this mind. These foolish people cannot control the mind. Now tell me, how many are foolish in this world? I guess the whole world. Because nobody can control the mind. Hardly 1, 2, 3, 4 will be there in this world who may be able to control the mind. But these foolish people who cannot control this invincible foe is a dangerous foe. That means their mind are very, very dangerous. What do they do with this mind of theirs? It pierces the vitals of these organs, this man, all the organs that are there, it pierces it. From the brain to your last portion of your body is controlled by the mind. And that is why they are engaged in vain quarrels. These people are so used to argumentation, They'll keep on arguing. Even my disciples, I tell them, shut up. Don't open your mouth or don't think. But they are able to think, they are able to talk, they will continue their blabber. And they continue this. Never able to control the mind, by the way. So this is what he says. They are engaged in vain quarrels. They're unnecessarily getting into wrong books of people. If there is a good friend, they will talk some nonsense and make an enemy out of him. And then they go and talk bad about one person to the other, and then they think they have made a friend over there. This is the way they do. You see, if you have a boss who is bad, you have a boss who is a terrible boss, okay? Naturally, you are going and talking about him. You see, he's such a useless fellow, he doesn't do work, blah, 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 blah. And then you go and talk to colleagues, and then you talk to the other bosses of the other department, thinking that, that fellow will now give me a position in his department. I have people in my world who think that, their bosses are bad and they should have been better off in another department or in another company. This is the way, the first thing they will come and they will tell me, I have the worst kind of a company, I have the worst kind of a boss. Or some people will say, I have the worst wife or the worst husband. You think they don't say that? 99.99% of the people do that. And they think that they will get friends. Actually, they are making enemies of everybody around, including their bosses, their spouses, their children, everybody. You can't complain, you can't talk nonsense. They are engaged in vain quarrels. And when somebody is a friend of yours, you make that friend into an enemy by trying to give some nonsensical advice. Learn to keep silent. Did I not tell you, if you are in the tamas or the rajoguna, you can never become, you can never control your mind. And the moment you open your mouth and talk and, just do vain quarreling with people, unnecessary argumentation, then you are lost. So here the Brahmana is explaining. The Brahmana is reciting this poem where he tells the world that nobody can control the mind. Okay? This mind is a formidable foe. You cannot control it. The mind is so strong that it controls all the gods that are there. Whatever gods you can think of. Didn't Shiva come and cut the head of Ganesha? You may say there is a reason for it. Forget the reason. Isn't that how it was done? Why? So there is a reason for everything. Doesn't matter. But this is truly the case. Even the gods can't control the mind. The mind is so formidable a creature. And when you have such a formidable creature inside of you, you go to ruins because you keep on argumenting and talking nonsense about other people and about it, your near and dear ones. And this is the way, engaged in vain quarrel with mortals here. They just keep on arguing and having argument with people. You can never be friends with your neighbors also, or your relatives or anybody. You think they are becoming friends or nothing. You're making enemies of this. And you're making many enemies of all the gods inside also. Because your mind is so strong. So we have come to the end of verse 49. Tomorrow we will do verse 50 onwards. Because there we will understand what Krishna has to say about it. So okay. So I will stop over here and I will see you all tomorrow. You take care. Have a great day. Bye.